It's okay to not be okay.
Welcome to Crocs in the Kitchen.
I am Brian.
And I am Jessica. So, we almost didn't do a video today. We have just been kind of in a funk as far as our mental health goes. And I don't know, we just haven't been feeling it lately. And so we were trying to figure out what to post. And everything just, I don't know, it didn't feel authentic and representative of what we're going through right now, I think. We could do like a silly video or try to figure out another recipe or something like that. But we like to keep this channel really authentic to what we're going through in our lives and what's going on. And so we wanted to take a step back and talk a little bit more about mental health. Now, this is something that we've talked about on this channel before. I opened up last year about my anxiety that I've struggled with for my entire life, and we'll link to that video if you guys want to check that out as well. But this statement in the intro that Brian said, it's okay to not be okay, or not to be okay, I forgot which way it is something that I heard. I first heard from a group called Hope for the Day, and I'll put a link to them down below as well. And they actually last year in my office that I work at, they came in and did a little seminar with us, and it was about kind of raising awareness in the office environment about mental health and kind of to remove some of the stigma against talking about that kind of stuff. And it was a really, really productive and cool program. But one of the things that they said was, it's okay to not be okay. And I really just resonated with that. And I think we all kind of need a reminder of that from time to time.
Yeah, and the strange thing for me is that normally I'm there to be this steady rock of a person for Jessica throughout all of this. But unfortunately, I've been going through the exact same thing. I've been struggling with a bunch of different things that have been going on in my life. I was recently furloughed from my job, and even though I was working from home a lot of times, like just the lack of anything to actually like work on, it threw me for a loop, and it felt like I was, really losing my job, despite the fact that it's a temporary thing. I've been struggling with insomnia for the last several weeks as well, and a lot of that honestly has to do with our dogs, because like I'll stay up late and then our dogs will wake us up super early, and I want to allow Jessica to get her sleep, and so I get up and I take care of the dogs, and then I just end up staying up because once I'm awake, and then I just keep going for the rest of the day, and then don't feel tired at the end of the night, and I just keep doing that cycle over and over and over again.
Yeah, you need to get your sleep schedule under control. But before we get into a lot of the mental health problems and things like that, which we wanted to discuss in today's video, I also kind of wanted to tie it in with the weight loss, because obviously, like, that's what you guys are here for from us a lot of times, is to hear about our weight loss adventure and all that stuff. And I will say that what I realize when we go through a lot of these struggles or downtimes, and I think everyone right now is kind of just struggling mentally, whether you want to admit it or not. We're all having issues right now, and I think that the one thing you can still control is your diet, and that's something right now where everything kind of seems out of our control. The one thing you can control is your diet, and that's what I've realized. And we've actually been doing a good job of sticking to plant-based. But there's a difference between sticking to plant-based and us sticking to the plant-based diet that we know allows us to lose the maximum amount of weight and achieve our goals when it comes to making ourselves healthier and getting to a weight that we feel like is healthier for the both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So while we've been sticking to plant-based, I feel like we started out the year in a really good mode, and the end of last year on the weight loss front, and that's definitely slowed down over these last few weeks. But sometimes you have to kind of like go for the lesser evil. So like last night we were standing around the island, and I had made some homemade corn tortilla chips, just plain corn tortillas. Like the only ingredients are corn and lime, I think, and bake them, nothing added. And we were eating them with some butternut cheesy, like some vegan butternut cheesy sauce, and just eating them. And I was like, you know what? I know we shouldn't be eating like a million of these right now, but it's better than us like going and drowning all of our feelings in eating at a Mexican restaurant and eating totally off plan. So I feel like those are the small victories that we can definitely celebrate. And we know that eating a whole food plant-based diet is the solution to so many of our issues. We feel so much better when we're doing it. And so if we can't control right now how we're feeling mentally, physically, we feel so much better when we're eating this way. And so that's one thing that we can control. So I did kind of want to like tie that in a little bit, but I wanted Brian to talk more about his struggles, because I know I talk about mine a lot, but unfortunately, over time of our in our relationship, I think that Brian, I don't know, I've always struggled with anxiety, depression, and all kinds of stuff, and that's no secret. But I always like say Brian's the calm to my storm. And the thing is, for a while, I really needed that calm. Like, I needed that calm from him, and I couldn't handle it if he tried to lay anything on me that was like, I'm going through this. And so I had this impression, and I think a lot of people are in the same kind of boat. I had this impression that Brian wasn't struggling with any mental health issues and that he didn't have any depression or anything like that. And I think a lot of it was him just bearing it because he knew that I wasn't strong enough to handle it. And only in the last couple of years, since I've started to really get a control on my own mental health, was I able to really like let him know, hey, it's okay. Like, I can handle this now. You can, you can open up to me. I can handle some of your storm. You don't always have to be the calm. That being said, I still really do like when he's the calm, because he's just such a nice calm front against my just craziness. But yeah, so we're hoping that by having this little chat that this will kind of just, maybe make you guys think about some stuff, make you guys realize that you're not alone in this. We're all going through this together. But with that being said, what did you want to chat about?
Well, I mean, to kind of go through what I've actually been going through, I know I just sort of, quickly summarized it, but the first thing that happened was last month, just like all of the stuff that happened in the country and everything. That was a big deal. At the same time, I lost my aunt, and that was extremely sad for me, and just the inability for me to actually like really go and be with my family and stuff like that due to COVID and all of the restrictions that were going on with that. I've been fortunate enough that I was able to work as long as I did until I was finally furloughed. And I know you guys don't know this, but I've lost jobs in the past, like very quickly, suddenly, had no clue it was happening. And I remember I was driving and like I stopped at a stoplight and I saw the notification pop up that I got an email from one of the guys in the office that I never get an email from. And I was just like, well, this is it. I'm getting fired. And so I had to drive home thinking that the entire time before finally getting a chance to stop and actually read the email and realizing that I'm being furloughed for a couple of months. And so like, it just triggered all that stuff with me of all the stuff of like, losing my job before in the past. And when I lost my job before in the past, was even when we were, newly married.
You mean like on the 1 year anniversary of when we got married, yeah. Practically like the day before?
It triggered all of this stuff in me. This feeling like I'm a failure. I've failed Jessica again. I've done, I've screwed it up. I haven't been able to do this, blah, blah, blah. And that just brought all of this stuff together. And so like for that weekend, like I knew I wasn't fired, but it was still all of those feelings kept getting brought back up again. And then all of the whole lack of sleep and all of this other stuff that's been piling on to that's been just one thing after another, but I've been able to like manage through a lot of that just because you can take naps and like that kind of stuff. And then over the last couple of weeks, like church got canceled due to the severe weather, And even today, like, because this is Sunday when we're actually recording this, like, church got canceled again today. And so I haven't even been able to like use that as an outlet. And I've been inside of this apartment because it's freezing cold outside. And like,
Yeah, it's been like seriously a negative 15 like wind chill here for the last bit here, but it's gonna get warmer. We did go out on a nice little walk. I finally, like on Thursday, I know we posted on Instagram some of it and you guys were some photos of it, but we finally did go out and walk to the arch and had ourselves a little adventure because I was like, we got to get out. I know it's cold, but we got to get out of this apartment and like do something for a few hours. But
so we bundled up and we got outside, and it was nice. It was nice walking around in the snow and whatnot, and down by the river and stuff. So that was cool. I enjoyed that. My body was not happy with me afterwards, just because it was like, hey, you've barely moved over the last couple of months. So yeah, this was a lot of work. But everything kind of like, all of that just sort of like came to a head, and I was just having to deal with it. And Jessica has been dealing with her own things, and so like I wasn't fully able to share with her how I was feeling. Like I think this was the first time, even just now, that you even understood the way I was feeling about losing my job, just because like, you know, I've got history with that.
yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know. I mean, I've been furloughed from my job since July. I work in the concert industry, so there's just no telling what's going to happen with that. And I was excited in the beginning at the chance to have like a little break from it. And so like, you know, if you're in a place where you're like relatively financially stable, for one of us to be furloughed was like, okay. But then it's like both of us, and like I'm still furloughed. And then it's like, it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, that would be fine, like, you know, whatever. But then when you're actually experiencing it, it does feel like, you know, you're losing a part of you. I don't know. It's just a weird feeling. And like, I don't think either of us, like going back a year, you know, saw any of this coming. And so it was just kind of like being blindsided by like, okay, wait, this is a whole new world for us. But go on.
Yeah, so I've just been having to deal with all of that stuff. I've basically been binge watching TV shows or, you know, playing a game that I can singularly focus on and not have to think about anything else that's been going on. And like, I don't think Jessica really understands like the escapism of video games as much as I do.
Well, I've been trying. So I'm really bad about like, we always have to be go, 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 go. Like, we have to be doing something, be productive. And like, I knew that Brian needed a break from my intense, like, go, 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 go. And so I've been trying to, like, I want to say let him, but, like, because it's not like I control what he does. Well, I mean, sometimes I do. But I've been trying to, like, allow him time to do his thing and not putting too much pressure, like, oh, we have to get this done, we have to get this done, and that kind of stuff, and giving him his time and his space that he needs. But for me, it's really hard to find a balance between, I think this is something that actually we were talking yesterday with Jill Dalton from the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show. Hi, Jill. And she said, you know, why don't you guys, because we were like, we don't have a video for tomorrow. And we're like, we don't know what we're doing. And she's just like, why don't you just take a self-care day and like allow yourselves to just like take the day off, like put a note for your listeners, like or your viewers, like they'll totally understand. And I'm not good at that. I'm not good at doing the self-care day. Like, the thing is, like, I feel happier when I'm being productive. And so I've been trying to learn some kind of balance where it's not like, hey, Jessica, you're just going to sit around and watch, you know, binge watch Catfish all day and like watch shows on, you know, whatever. Or, hey, you're going to do go, go, go all day. Like, why can't we be like, you know what, today let's do a few hours of work and then a few hours of watching whatever show I want to watch. You know, some kind of balance. Like, it's always all or nothing for me. I talk with my therapist a lot about all or nothing. Like, that's me in a nutshell, is like, it's all or it's nothing. And so, with Brian, you don't have that all drive. You're so when you get into nothing mode, you don't have that drive to like want to get out of it. And so it's real easy for you to get like stuck in that. So I do have to like kind of, sometimes it's good for me to be like, hey, Brian, let's get out of the house. Let's do something. Let's be productive.
Most of the time I've just sort of ridden the wave until it's over with.
Yeah.
You know?
Like this week, I had my clipboard out this morning. I got up at 6 something this morning. I was ready. Actually, 5:30. I took a shower at 5:30 and I was ready to get stuff done.
I
And
really appreciated that too, actually.
And I let him sleep and do his thing. And I try, we try to like balance that kind of stuff out and know what each other needs and be what but I was like, you know what? I'm putting together a to-do list of stuff for me for this week. I'm going to put a few items for here on that I think Brian could work on this week, because giving him some kind of productive project that you could work on is going to be good for you ultimately. But also knowing that, as you always like to remind me, you do things in your own like timeline, and it's not necessarily always like my timeline. And so I have to really compromise and understand that, like, hey, I can tell Brian, hey, can you help me with it? Or ask him, can you help do this? But that doesn't mean it's going to be like done in Jessica time. And so I don't know. I think a lot of this has just forced us to really learn a lot about each other. But I always want you to know, like, you can tell me when you're going through stuff. Like, I can handle it better now, whereas I know previously I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And so if you've got people in your life out there that you guys you guys know might be struggling, or that you are struggling and you think, your partner in life is just peachy, talk to them. They might not be. They might not want to talk about it, but I will include a link to some resources on the description of this video if you guys want to check those out. If you or anyone you know is struggling with mental health issues, there are still people out there who say, don't talk about this stuff, and who think you're weak. But I think the majority of people are coming around to realizing that mental health issues are real and they're not something to be taken lightly. And it's definitely, honestly, like, you guys, seriously, some of you who sent me messages or notes or cards in the mail or all that kind of stuff, or comments about me opening up on my video I did last year for the anxiety and sharing your stories with me, it means so much to me. Like, you guys have no idea. To hear that me sharing my story could possibly have helped even one of you out there who struggle with the stuff that I've struggled with so long and carry those burdens around with you. I just think it's such a great step to find somebody you can connect with. And so if I can be that person who you connected with, or Brian can be that person who you connected with by hearing our story, and that gets the ball rolling for you guys, like, that is just above and beyond. So thank you guys for sharing that. It gets overwhelming sometimes, because I'll read some of this stuff and I'm just like, I know exactly what that feels like to be in the place that you're in. And I know what it's like to have that moment where something just clicks and you suddenly are like, wow, this person gets it. And it just, it's a moment of sadness and happiness all in one, because you're happy you found someone else who can relate to you, but sad that you also are acknowledging this is a real thing and it does exist. Because there is something about, wouldn't you say, I think only in the last year and a half have you ever used the word I'm depressed or depression to label anything about your feelings.
Yeah.
And it makes it real.
Yeah.
It does something when you acknowledge that, but then you can also start getting help.
Yeah. And the thing that I can't do, though, is what I used to do in the past, which was, go out and eat something or do something like that. And I know I've said in previous videos that I'm not an emotional eater, and I'm really not an emotional eater. I don't like to associate negative feelings with food. But
if I want Brian to lose weight, the best way would just be to make him really, really sad, because
that's true.
Like, if we get in an argument or we fight or get in an argument, like, he doesn't want to eat at all. So that would be
Yeah. But to say that food doesn't provide enjoyment,
Yeah.
it's I mean that'd be a lie. But the problem that I've been having is that obviously I can't go out and eat the stuff that I used to before when I was fat. And so I've been trying to find something to eat around here, something that I can make to satisfy whatever it is that I'm trying to satisfy. And I've been craving something for the last several weeks, and I have no idea what I'm actually craving. All I know is that the stuff that I think about isn't the stuff that I want. And it actually wasn't until last night when Jessica sent me a link to a recipe that I was like, man, I really want a burger. Like, seriously, I don't know why,
Yeah,
but
they
like
were
that's
like these butternut squash white bean burgers.
yeah. And so I'm not talking about like a beef burger. I'm talking about like
a plant-based.
But the
The
bun, the
bun,
lettuce,
yeah.
the like all that kind of stuff. Like that's what
I've been wanting
honestly
your
been craving.
burgers.
And so
Your
I was
black
like,
bean umami burgers.
yeah, if I can, I'm totally gonna make those today or tomorrow.
I've been wanting
And-
those lately.
And so like it took me 2 weeks to actually realize what I was finally craving. And I'm fortunate enough that I didn't just go out and like try to eat a bunch of things and like figure out what I actually wanted. I kept eating my normal regular diet.
Whole
We ate
food
salads,
plant-based,
we
yeah.
ate soup. I've made some random stuff that turned out pretty decently as well. Like, all sorts of the normal stuff that we do. But it wasn't until last night that I finally realized that I just want a burger. And so that's going to be on the menu soon.
I think sometimes you just need to realize, like, you know what? It's sometimes you're not going to be on all fronts. And so, like, right now, obviously, like, within the next few weeks, yeah, we want to get back into hardcore weight loss mode for
Yeah.
sure. Like, this week, I would love to, get into weight loss mode instead of, like, just hovering at the same, 10 pounds back and forth.
And making Drury family chocolate lava cake.
I did make the Drury family chocolate lava cake last night. Like, I know that's not going to help me lose weight. I know it has, like, a lot of dates in it. I know. I get it. Like, but at the same time, I think in the past, I have felt like I needed to go beyond whole food plant-based to get, like, any kind of comfort or anything like that. And so realizing, like, you know what? It's okay. Like, there are people who eat plant-based that aren't losing weight. They're just eating plant-based. And, like, it's okay to just do that for a week or whatever if that's what we need to get through. And just eat, like, not following, like, Dr. Furman or anybody's plan or trying to do the maximum weight loss or any of that kind of stuff. And I think we've been eating, pretty decent this, like, past bit here. And so...
Oh, we've been eating great.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some really good, nutritious, tasty food. And I feel better physically than I did, like, a few months ago when we were allowing this state of, what we're going through to let us get into... Spiral into past things that we used to eat and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think that, yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, that's pretty much it as far as I'm concerned. Did you want to add anything else?
Oh, let me just review my notes here.
Checkity check the notes.
Let's see.
Yep, talked about that. I did want to say thank you to Jill because it was actually your message last night that sort of spawned all of this together because, yeah, we could have taken the day off, but at the same time, it just reinforced what I know about our channel and what I know about us, that if we have an opportunity to talk about something that's affecting us, then we should do that, because you never know if what we say or what we do could help somebody else out. And so that's what this video is entirely about. Heck, somebody sent me a message the other day and said, or a comment the other day saying that they tried our jambalaya soup and it was so good and so awesome that, it completely revitalized them in their pursuit of health on a whole food plant-based diet, because for the last 6 months they've been struggling and just didn't have any good recipes that they enjoyed, but they kept doing it and kept sticking to it, and they became disheartened. And then they ate my soup and it completely changed them, and they're now completely 100% back on board. And I'm like, that's awesome. And that's exactly why we do this channel, is because I never know if something we talk about or something we say is going to help somebody else out. And that's what we always want to do. We want to be real and honest. That's first and foremost. But we always want to put it out there just in case somebody actually does need to hear that.
Yeah.
And so while it may be that we're struggling right now, like if this is the worst that we struggle, then we're doing okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, and I think for me, by acknowledging it and putting it out there, I am not allowing myself to just bury the feelings that I'm having. And because sometimes when I bury the feelings in my own head, it just, all the feelings go through my head, and then the end, like it's doing its computing, and like the thing that comes out is, you're a failure. If I just come to the conclusion, hey Jessica, you're a failure, like that's not productive for me. I need to put my energy into something more productive. So the moment that we decided to make this video, I felt like a weight had been lifted off of me, because I was like, you know what? I feel like when we started this channel, we didn't really realize we were like putting ourselves out there. We were just like, hey, let's make some goofy videos, like whatever. But we didn't realize what it would evolve into, and that we would, it would be just like this transparent view of our lives. And I have to tell myself sometimes, Jessica, you're allowed to keep certain things private. You don't have to open about everything. But at the same time, when there's stuff going on in our lives, and we want to share that with you, and we want you guys to know what we're going through, because it helps us realize things and it helps you guys as well. And so I feel like doing a video like this definitely is, like I've said before about other videos, it's almost as like therapeutic for me as it is for you guys, hopefully, by listening to it. So thank you all for seriously being a part of this community, for listening to us, for letting us into your homes, and rooting for us, because I know that there's a lot of people out there who are really, really supportive of everything that we do, and I know that you don't have to be, so I definitely do appreciate it.
Yeah, I know this video was a little bit long-winded and it was just us back and forth, but I think that's fine. So is that it?
That's all I got.
All right. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and click the bell that is right next to that button so you get notified whenever we post a new video. You can also find us on social media, Instagram and Facebook. And like I said, we love it when you guys send us messages on there, and just even if it's just to tell us how you're doing, we're perfectly fine.
And sometimes it may take us a little bit longer to get back, because when I go through bouts of depression, I tend to like not want to talk to anybody or do anything, but like I seriously do appreciate it, and I do try to get to everything.
Yes. You can also like and share the video. It does help us out quite a bit in growing the channel. But I think that's all I got.
That's definitely all I got.
We will see you next time on Crocs in the Kitchen. Bye.